Now I have a pleasure to introduce Dr. Shino. Dr. Shino is one of the most famous dermatologists in the world. Thank you so much, Dr. Shino, for your presence, and thank you so much to introduce Toscani in the United States.
I just have to say, wow, you guys all blow my mind with all the presentations that you just shown so far. I was taking notes, trying to see how can I assimilate everything that you guys been doing. You're definitely, as always, ahead of the curve when it comes to aesthetics. So let's see. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Please, Dr. Shino.
Okay, so I will start with a short video to set the stage with the important message that I want to convey tonight.
Hi guys, Dr. Shino here. The future of aesthetic medicine is no longer just about appearing younger. It's about becoming younger at the cellular level. This is the promise of bioregenerative and functional aesthetic medicine. We are all living ecosystem made up of around 50 trillion cells. Each cell plays a vital role, keeping us alive and thriving. They are not insignificant. They are conscious beings, just like you and me, sensing, communicating, and adapting to their surroundings. Yet, for too long, we failed to honor them. This is typical for humans. For example, in aesthetics, we push our aging fibers to keep producing collagen and elastofibers, all whilst rejecting them to harsh treatments. We stop them with microneedling, electrocute them with radio frequency, plain burn them with energy devices and caustic chemicals. It's all brutal at the cellular level, often without the care these living cells deserve. My mission is to shift our industry consciousness. We must start seeing ourselves as conscious beings that need nourishment, protection, and a healthy environment to survive. Welcome to the new era of functional aesthetic medicine, where we honor ourselves and provide them with what they need to truly thrive.
So, as you can see, I talk a lot about the future aesthetic medicine is functional. And that encompasses everything that you have shown today and the amazing results that we gotten. And the big message that we're trying to bring into the aesthetic market. What I did in the United States when I tried to introduce the Toscani product was to combine bioregenerative medicine with orthomolecular medicine and give her a new name on the functional aesthetic medicine, where we can actually use bioregenerative techniques, whether they are biocollagen stimulators, fat stimulators, energy devices, use those techniques and amplify the results by thinking at a cellular level. So cellular health is the foundation of visible beauty. And we understand now that true beauty and health and longevity start at a cellular level. We understand that balanced homeostasis can ensure proper gene expression and renewal of most organs and tissues. Fibroblasts, keratinocytes, fat cells, osteoblasts, all these cells have requirements. We are composed, as I said on the video, 50 trillion cells, and they are no different from you and I. They still have the same requirements that any human being or any living organism requires. They need proper nutrition, they need protection, and they need hydration. So things that we can get from foods like vitamin A, C, trace element, can help in the production of collagen, hormones, elastic fibers, and other orthomolecules that are important for the homeostasis of any living organism. So ultimate nutrition matters, supporting hydration matters, and the protection against the elements, whether the external or internal elements, matters. So we are moving away from fillers to function. There was a time where we only knew how to stave off the aging process by replacing human tissue with injectable fillers. But the paradigm has shifted because we understand that traditional fillers mask the aging process and that functional treatments can restore cellular integrity and can actually rejuvenate without distortion. I don't want anyone out there to think that I am talking bad about injectable fillers because that is not the case. Please understand me. I use a lot of injectable fillers, but I use them as structural supporters. They can be structural enhancers in young people. But there comes a time where the aging process is happening so fast, rapidly, to all of us, where we need to bioregenerate tissue. Then we can enhance. So I use tons of injectable fillers like hyaluronic acid to create structural support where it's needed. But I bioregenerate first. And this is the way of the future. This is the way we should be working in our clinics to stave off the aging process. The concept of orthomolecular medicine got lost in the 1960s. 1968, Dr. Linus Pauling, a two-time award winner, coined the term orthomolecular medicine. And the promises of orthomolecular medicine focus on maintaining the health and treating disease by optimizing the body's all natural form and ability to repair itself, and extracting natural molecules from food, minerals, and amino acids in order to aid on these homeostatic problems that we were having in any disease process. Basically, what Dr. Linus Pauling said, that food is medicine, and that food can make us thrive or can kill us. And at that time, people frowned upon. People did not believe what he was trying to teach us because academic arrogance. And we still see that to these days. Some of our colleagues, and this is good, it's good to have peer-reviewed papers. It's good to publish. I do that all the time, and I peer-review articles of colleagues. We need that because that's how we advance, that's how we learn. But what we need to do is also be flexible and be open-minded, because something that is published in 1999 can be disproved in 2010 and so on. So we now know that Dr. Linus Pauling was right, that in food we have certain molecules, certain cofactors, certain enzymes, certain vitamins that are vital in the physiology of the human body. We also know that every single cell that we have in our body is birthed, it matures, it goes to work, it gets older, and either turns into a zombie cell that's doing nothing, or it dies. For example, our fibroblasts can live up to 70 to 80 years of age. And as we get older, the extracellular matrix, if we are just gonna focus in this cell that we call fibroblast, this little guy that we call fibroblast, as he gets older, the environment is also getting older and nothing is looking great. You have around the fragmented matrix from broken down collagen, elastic fibers. We have chemokines and inflammatory cytokines. We have reactive oxygen species. We have oncostatin. We have inflammasomes, TNF alpha. It looks brutal in the extracellular matrix where this old fibroblast is trying to thrive. And what do? We ask so much of it because we all want to have beautiful skin. We want to have elastic collagen, but we do it at what price? Well, the only thing that we knew to do, and we still do, is that we use energy devices. We use microneedling that we use as a delivery system, we use chemicals in order to force those aging fibroblasts that are living in a not such a great environment, we force them to perform, but without giving what they really require in order to thrive. So, for my colleagues out there, we can actually train and teach the skin to act younger by using biological signals, not by just trauma or foreign body reaction. And this is what Toscani products do. Do you know that in March 2025, it was published that when we injure the cells on our skin, they let out a silent scream. For the first time, scientists at the University of Massachusetts Amherst have discovered this all invisible cry. They actually scream and cry with pain. Contrary to what we was previously believed that skin cells communicate electrically to neighboring cells to warn them of impending danger. So it's something that kind of looks like this. An electric signal goes and let the neighbor skin cells that an injury happen in order to start recruiting helping cells to the area. So don't we agree that in 2025, we are in a new era that requires new tools? Remember, we don't age because of the years. We actually age because our biochemistry becomes deficiency. And we are able to show this with all the work that all of you have demonstrated tonight with the use of Toscani products, which are polyrevitalizing micronutrients full of peptides, amino acids, nucleotides, and growth factors. This has always been the way. But somehow we lost our way in the world of aesthetic and medicine, thinking that the way to look young was to replace human tissue with a synthetic gel, instead of giving our cells that are in charge of tissue production, that are in charge of proper function of organ. We neglected them. And nobody looked into this until now. So we have things like biomimetic peptides, that there are basically messengers that tell our cells what to do, how to behave, and they're very useful in restoring the firmness and textures and smoothing out wrinkles. We have so many innovative blends of peptides working from the inside out to ensure that our skin not only appears flawless, but the structure and the function and the physiology of the skin is of that of a younger skin. Liposomes. This is something that most of the products that Toscani has them, because they are cutting-edge liposomes. They tend to protect active ingredients, enable it to be released in the target layer of the skin and to be up to 10 times more effective than unbounded bioactive ingredients. We have things like hyaluronic acid. This amazing tissue elastic, that it is the source of life itself, because it does more than just hydration. It actually reduces inflammation when you're working with large molecule size of it, but it is also important for the support of wound healing, barrier function, signaling molecules, and skin homeostasis. In fact, without hyaluronic acid, there is no self-division or mitosis. And polynucleotides. I don't have to convince you guys in Brazil about the amazing benefit of polynucleotides. My fight is here in the United States, as I have several colleagues that they're famous in social media, and they come in from other stage, or they just create videos for social media, and they speak with social proficiency, and they speak with righteousness, and they speak as if they are the expert on this new field of orthomolecular medicine and functional aesthetic medicine, and they put down polynucleotides. They put down and they say that this is like snake venom and pseudoscience. And I try to let them know that it is not the case, because there's a lot of science in polynucleotides. We know that it can increase the viability and stimulate proliferation of fibroblasts. We know that it works to the salvage pathway. We know that it reduces oxidative stress. We know that it reduces metalloproteinases. We know that it does a lot for DNA repair. And there's been so many papers published. And I get infuriated and upset when somebody that hasn't read the literature or hasn't published on it goes on social media and talks bad about something that they have no clue about it. You know, in the United States, in order to combat that, Saranja Wiles, an amazing dermatologist and PhD, together with some of my colleagues, we publish about sodium DNA. So when they say that there's nothing published, well, there's a lot of things published, and we have a great paper published in the United States through the Mayo Clinic that really supports the science about sodium DNA. We know that growth factors are important, and growth factors are just a switch. You have this switch, you turn on this switch, and you really need to be able to understand the power of growth factors in intercellular communication, because they are doing it naturally every day on our human body. But as we get older, everything gets older, everything malfunctions, and the production of growth factors is less and less and less. The idea that if you bring polyrealized macronutrients, growth factors, coincides locally to our aging fibroblasts, we can actually teach and train our aging fibroblasts to be more vigorous, to have more vitality, so they can actually perform better. Exosomes, the language of how our cells communicate with each other, that we know that they do promote tissue regeneration, stimulate collagen production, and reduce inflammation, is part of this conversation of orthomolecular medicine. Everything that I have discussed thus far are these orthomolecules that the body utilizes in order to thrive. So the code of cellular aesthetics is being unlocked. And you guys in Brazil and Latam are going on the forefront, as you always do. Unfortunately, in the United States, it takes a lot of convincing, because our mentality is different. The way we are trained is different. We are not as open-minded, and our curiosity gets stunned by the fact that we are trained differently than other countries are. But the truth is that polyrealized macronutrients is nothing new. For God's sake, Toskani is a company that's probably about 53 or maybe 55 years old. Polynucleotides being studied at length in Asia. Exosome is being discovered a long time ago by scientists in the labs, and so are biomimetic peptides and other growth factors. These orthomolecules, they are important for signal repair, detoxification of the body, and true regeneration and true rejuvenation. They don't feel, they restore, they awaken, and they recalibrate the aging process. And this is the beautiful terminology that I learned from Toskani the minute that I came in contact with them when I did my world tour in Brazil. Mesosynergy. Understanding that we can integrate polymicronutrient solutions into everything that we have done thus far in our clinics in order for patients to get younger. You can add these polymicronutrients to any technique. For neurotoxin, my friend Dr. Galadari in Dubai. He mixed neurotoxin with a polyrevitalizing micronutrient for the skin glow and treat rosacea and acne and shrink the pores. You can do it with threads in order to create the perfect environment for collagen production. You can do it with fillers. You can do it with medical devices. You can do it with peels, with anything that is going to injure the skin. You need to think at a cellular level, because if you are going to force an aging fibroblast that are old, you're going to push these old fibroblasts to perform. You better be kind to it, and the way you get kind is the way anybody will be kind to you. If they see you suffering, if they see you being tired and gone, they will give you nutrition. They will give you protection from the elements, the sun, the rain, and they will make sure you have proper hydration. That is being kind to any living organism, and our cells are not different. And that's why I love all the products of Toscani, because they have a solution for pretty much anything that it is a disease process and ailment, including the aging process, that we see the aging process now as a disease of inflammation at a cellular level that can be recalibrated, that can be reversed. And we know that Toscani products will provide us with many of them. I want to go over this. This was the beginning of the introduction of functional aesthetic medicine. This paper was a labor of love, and it was something that I discovered when I went to AMWC Latam, and my dear friend Viviana Perico, who was one of my residents in aesthetic medicine, she mixed a polyrevitalizing micronutrient, which is the competitor of Toscani. At that time, I wasn't aware of Toscani. She mixed it. I saw the beautiful changes on the skin. And then from there, I have my friend Elena Teos outside the United States in Greece do the studies, my friend Ali McCarthy to help us with the writing of it, so we can bring this to the public and to our colleagues all over the world. And the promises was that if we took a biocollagen stimulator and we mixed it with a polyrevitalizing micronutrients, we should be able to amplify the results, because we can really improve the vitality of the fibroblasts, especially those fibroblasts that are older. So we mix 1-to-1 calcium hydroxyapatite with a polyrevitalizing micronutrients. We use an ultrasound to check our results, and this is what we got at 3 weeks: 46% improvement on the thickness of the dermis, and 65% of improvement on the thickness at 6 weeks. And what we got later, we weren't prepared for this. We were just looking for skin quality improvement. And we saw volume as you use multiple fillers. We have wrinkle reduction. We improved the infraorbital halos. The mid-face descent got improved marionette lines, nasolabial folds. And these are some of our pictures that probably you've seen before. Take into consideration that this is only one syringe of calcium hydroxyapatite with 1.5 cc of the polyrevitalizing micronutrients. You can see the beautiful results at 3 weeks. Another patient you could see here before, 3 weeks later. I guess 6 weeks later is not there, but okay, so that is missing. I owe you, but what I wanted you to see was that 6 weeks later she had even more volume, and 1.5 years later she still retained the results. Why? Because we are not making her appear younger. We're making her create her own tissue, and the tissue will be more viable. When I discovered this, I approached my dear friend Ferio Fani, and she's actually the scientist and dermatologist from the competitor, the person that I did the study. And she couldn't believe my photos. So she did her own studies. And they have this amazing apparatus, which is a glass box. And with this glass box, she was able to prove the tensile strength, the vitality of a aged fibroblast. She also was able to do this. She took aged fibroblasts. When you look at fibroblasts, the same way you can recognize a 90-year-old person and an 80-year-old person, we can do the same thing with fibroblasts. When fibroblasts are young, as like a 16-year-old, like imagine yourself when you were 16 years old. You were skinny, flexible, stretchable. You could party, you can work out, you recover fast. And imagine when you are a 40-year-old father and you have that father body, maybe a little belly, you don't have that many muscles, you didn't work out. Well, we can do the same thing with fibroblasts. She treated 56-year-old fibroblasts. And we know what 56-year-old fibroblast looks like a dad body, and a 16-year-old fibroblast. Actually, she had 23-something-year-old fibroblasts. And they treated the aged fibroblasts with polyvirtualized micronutrients of her kind. And after 6 weeks, those 56-year-old looking fibroblasts look better than the 23-year-old fibroblasts. And when she used this glass box to test the tensile strength of the fibroblasts, the ability, the force, the vitality of the fibroblasts, she was able to prove that it actually improved. So this is a study that shows that if you give the proper nutrition, hydration, and protection that you have in something like NCPR, RCPR, you will change the behavior of the fibroblasts. Now, in the United States, unfortunately, we could not mix NCPR with the radius because it came topically. But you know, me, when there's a will, there's a way, and I needed to find a way to replicate this technique, make this technique legal in the United States. And what I did is, we have PDGF, platelet-derived growth factor, and in the United States, it's legal to inject it. But you need to understand, PDGF is just a switch. I can turn the switch on, but my fibroblasts are still old. So what happens when you push an old fibroblast to perform and behave younger or perform for you, make collagen, make elastic fiber? You're going to push them to exhaustion. And we do the same with retin-A. As dermatologists, we love retin-A. But at the end, everybody's skin gets old. Of course, better, it gets there at a later time. But when you're even using retin-A, you're using energy devices, you're using switches, and the fibroblasts is old, and you're not giving them the nutrition that you find in the polyvirtualized micronutrients, guess what you're doing? You're going to push those old fibroblasts to exhaustion. You're going to push your stem cells to exhaustion. They're going to get exhausted, and you're going to push them to become zombie cells before their time. So keep that message in mind. We have to give them the nutrition that they deserve, the hydration they deserve, in order to make those old fibroblasts vigorous. So I have the switch. So I mixed it, but I will microneedling, and when I'm able to use the jet gun, I will use that to infuse the extracellular matrix with these micronutrients, so my fibroblasts stay vigorous, that keeps their vitality. I cannot just push them, even chemically. The PDGF is a signal, the exosome is a signal that's telling them to perform, but they're still old and they need vitality. And the only way you can give that vitality is to give the proper nutrition that you are going to find in NCPR and RCPR. And these are my results mixing the PDGF growth factor with the radius. but still using the NCPR to get the micronutrients, to get those old fibroblasts to look more vigorous because their vitality that this product will provide. And there's this side view, and then you could see on the clay view. And after we published this paper, we went ahead and helped my friend Alessio Genai and Fabrizio Melfa. And what he did is trying to get liquid fat. Now, of course, it's easier just to get a vial from the shelf, get a syringe and pull it. This is a little bit more complicated, but it proves the same point. Because liquid fat is filled with nutritional growth factors and stem cells and bioactive ingredients. Remember, they do this, but they get just the liquid fat. They mix it with the radius or the calcium hydroxyapatite. And what did they get? Well, exactly what I got. They got amplification of results, because if you give your starving old fibroblasts some nutrition, they will perform better. And these are all before and after. And then after our paper was published, Alessio Redelli, he also used PLLA and mixed it with polyretrolyzed micronutrients. And guess what he got? The same amplification of results. And for all of you that presented tonight, and you show how you were able to restore function, structure and function, even to the private area of a woman, reverse disease process, improve quality of the skin. The reason you were able to achieve that is because you are giving these orthomolecules that have a profound impact in our aging cells to help them thrive. Because as we get older, our gut cells are older, so you could be eating the same, but you can even be hydrating, but they're not getting to our aging cells because our gut cells are old and our colon cells are old. So you are eating, but you're not assimilating. That's why we get older. We need supplementation, and that's functional medicine. So remember this: getting bioregenerative techniques, bridging them with orthomolecular medicine, we can have functional aesthetic medicine and have better results. Thank you very much.